Shalom, me homies. I'm just sitting on the porch after a nice morning of weeding in the garden, thinking about death, as I often do. Not in a morbid way, not in a, oh, I long for it sort of way, but in a curious sort of way. I wonder when it will come. I wonder how it will happen. It will. Death comes for all of us. Absolutely. Guaranteed. And that's part of what makes life so special, is that it doesn't go on forever. It's ephemeral, it's fleeting. This life, this instantiation of life, you are eternal. Because you are not this body. You go on and on and on and on and on. So, when we don't embrace reality, we suffer. These are our options. Embrace reality or suffer, right? And the reality is life will kill you. Now, death is not the same thing as suffering, but when you run from death, you suffer. No one wants to suffer, so take care of this life. Respect this life that you have been given, this gift you have been given. Running from reality, running from death, is actually quite disrespectful. Because who are you to stick around eternally in this one body and not give back to the earth that has given you so much, not feed back into the system that has fed you? Who are you to do that? A vampire? Because that's what you would be. And vampires are sadistic. They're sociopathic. They don't value life. And how could you value a thing when it came so cheaply? Right? That's what would happen. It would mean nothing to you, because it goes on and on and on and on and on. You can waste it. You can dilly-dally. You can be on TikTok for eternity because you think, oh, I'll read that book tomorrow. Because you have endless tomorrows. But you don't. We're going to die, guys. I mean, we all see it, right? This like craze, this obsession with like longevity. And there's nothing wrong with living, wanting to live a long, healthy, happy life. But that's not the same thing as living forever in one body. Then your body becomes a prison. Right? Like if you were truly living life as God intended and participating in the circle, in the web of life, which requires your body to go back to the earth, if you were participating in that fully, life would be so intrinsically rewarding, and you would realize that death is a part of it all. You would want to participate in that part of it too. You'd be curious about it. Not trying to like rush it on or anything, I don't think, but I mean, because I don't want to die anytime soon, but I'm also not afraid of it. Not at all. And I think that's because of my relationship to all of life beyond myself. I recognize that my life, this experience is not possible without everything else that has come before me, that has already died and given life back, fed back into the system that now I am feeding upon. If everything just stayed alive forever on the planet, every living being, and just fed upon the earth would eventually not have anything left to give us, because the earth is made up of the bodies of the things that are living on it. Who are we as humans not to be a part of that and just to take from it? That's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, if we were participating in the web of life, in the way that God intended, fulfilling our natural niche as stewards, okay, we're meant to use these hearts and these minds and these opposable thumbs to take care of this planet, to look out for our brothers and sisters and our cousins. And when I say brothers and sisters and cousins, I'm not just speaking about other humans. I'm talking about the birds and all the little four-legged creatures and the fish in the sea and the reptiles and the amphibians and the bugs, everything. We're all related in some way. We're all from the same family. And all the other creatures are happy to participate in their niche in the way that God intended, and they do so without complaints. And we, as humans, claim to be the most intelligent creatures of all, and yet we're polluting and raping and pillaging the very planet that we need in order to survive. That's not intelligent at all. Our intelligence is being misapplied because our hearts are off. They're wrong. Something's gone wrong, guys. And I believe the way that we correct it is to get back in the heart and in the intuition and let that guide the mind. Let the mind be a slave to the heart be the master. Let God be the ultimate master that commands the heart, and let the heart command the mind. And if we were doing that, what we would be doing we would be living in a way that is harmonious and respectful of all life and of the entire life cycle and process, which includes death. We're so frightened of it that when people start aging and looking older, getting closer to death, we butcher our faces, we pull our skin back behind our ears, we inject all kinds of fillers. That's bizarre. That's bizarre, guys. It's scary to me when I see people that look like monsters because they're trying to avoid looking like a human that ages, like a real life being. That's every real life being ages and gets closer to death and dies eventually. If you're trying to pretend that you're not that, why? What are you doing? Because I understand we all want to be healthy, and health looks a certain way. So why don't we just act in the way that creates the health, that creates the look of health? In other words, why don't we be true? Why don't we be real instead of injecting lies into our face? I don't trust people that walk around with their skin pulled back behind their ears and filler in their face. I think you tell lies. And it reeks of a lack of self-esteem and a lack of self-love. And if you don't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love me? That may sound judgmental, but I think it's discernment. It is. Now, I treat people like that with love, and I encourage them. I try to lift them up. Everyone, all of life, I try to lift up and support. But I don't trust a person who doesn't tell the truth. Okay? And I don't trust a person who is living an illusion, a delusion, making themselves believe that death will never come. Because if you're acting in that way, you're not taking full responsibility, probably, most likely, for the way that you're impacting other people in the world around you. Because you're not fully embracing and respecting life. I don't know if I'm following Brian Johnson, but he pops up in my feed a lot. And he's this millionaire guy who is on a crusade to, I don't know if his goal is to never die, but the guy's not living because he's trying not to age. And this is the irony of it. Like, he documents every single thing he does every day, like every calorie he takes in, every step he takes, every minute he spends in the sauna. He's hooked up to all of these instruments that measure his heart rate and his blood pressure, and he takes his blood once a week, and he reports back to everyone. He's made himself a living experiment and specimen for the study of longevity. And it's his life that, obviously he has free will. Do what you will, dude. But also, you're not living. That's not living. I think it's pretty obvious that you will live longer and you will be healthy if you exercise, if you eat whole foods, if you get sunshine, if you live in harmony with nature in the way that God intended. It's pretty simple. But he's doing all of that because he's trying to hack the system and go beyond what God had intended for us. And we get in trouble when we do that. We do. Look around us. Everything, all the trouble that we are in right now, most of it is self-inflicted, self-created, because we're meddling with and changing God's creation, not understanding the whole picture and how all the pieces fit together and how every string in the tapestry is connected. And when you pull on this one, it pulls on the one next to it. And then that one pulls on the one next to that. And on and on and on. When I say web of life, it's not just an analogy or a metaphor. It's literally, we are all connected. There is a thread of life that runs through all of us, an invisible thread. What I do impacts you, and on and on and on and on and on and on. Just because you can't see immediately the impact of your action doesn't mean it doesn't ripple out. The butterfly effect is real. And much like butterflies, we evolve, we transform, we change at different phases in our life. And when you try to change God's creation in the way of taking out the death part, you actually remove a part of what it is to be human, part of the cycle of life.